Okay, let's look at 10 more stages. We're going to start with stage 2. Now, why do we leave stage 2 until later? Well, let's see, it's 2 acts, and we have a bunch of slimes with different elemental vulnerabilities, and, well, the recommendation that I have in the guide is to freeze vibe the first act. Okay, but then we have to do something else to get rid of these guys. And for Act 2, it says just use a buffed self-destruct. Okay, well, why would that work? Well, if you look at the way these buttons work, Final Sting is a single target, high potency spell. Self-destruct is a multi-target high potency spell. And it says to all nearby enemies, it doesn't have drop-off damage. The radius is 20 yalms. That's enormous, right? That's going to be very easy to aim. So let's go about it. Let's grab Ram's Voice. Let's grab Ultra Vibration. And let's grab the combo for self-destruct. Bristle, Toad Oil, Moon Flute, self-destruct. Now, in terms of the order of application, Toad Oil can be applied early because it has 180-second or 3-minute duration. A Bristle is 30 seconds, Moon Flute's 15, and there's our self-destruct. So, let's see. Put this on the bar. This is already on the bar. And I don't even need a single target spell for this. No. So, let's go right in. And see that this works. I could even apply Toad Oil now, because it lasts so long. And I don't think I'm going to be in here even 2 minutes. But I do need to get these things to come over me. And I did not even put a single regular GCD on the bar. So I have to go auto them, that's fine. There we go. Need to get Bristle up now. It's last 30 seconds. Moon Flute. And I say all I have to do is self-destruct. That looks about right. That looks about right. So there we go. Alright, we're gonna do stage 2 next. Or 3, rather. Okay, this is a golem. Weak to water, so bringing a water GCD is going to be good here instead of Sonic Boom. The water will do more damage to him. He has an interruptible cast, so maybe we'll respect that. He can also be paralyzed. He can be slowed. He can be blinded. Those aren't going to be as useful. But since he's a big one that we cannot freeze and we cannot flat damage death, we're going to be thinking about finishing him off with a Final Sting, a fully buffed Final Sting. So let's get things around. This is still on cooldowns. I'm just going to move it. Water spell. A spammable water spell. Everybody has water cannon. There are some other water spells with slightly higher potencies. If you don't have those, who cares? We'll just use water cannon. And we're going to want Bristle and Song of Torment. Or you can use Bristle and Breath of Magic if you have it. I'll use Song of Torment just to show you that you don't have to have Breath of Magic. Let's see. Flying Sardine. I will put that on the bar just in case. And what else do I need? I want Whistle, because I'm thinking about finishing this off with a fully buffed Final Sting. So, Whistle. Moon Flute. Where is it? There it is. Now, technically, for buffing Final Sting, you can use Tingle. It does add 100 potency to the cast. I usually find that that's overkill, so I'm kind of lazy and just don't do it. But you can if you want. And Whistle Tingle Trident. Boom, boom. Okay. So is everything on the bar? I have my water cannon, I have this, and I have my dot. I have Flying Sardine, I have... Yep, this should be fine. So the final sting threshold that I found was 30% with the gear I typically wear at level 80. So we're going to go in. Now, if you are curious how to determine a final sting threshold, well, the easy thing to do, go in and do a buff sting and see how much damage you do. Dropped into about 73%, and that was a non-direct hit, non-crit. So 73%, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. So I could probably final sting him from a different threshold. Maybe 30% is overly generous. If you're hesitant of that, you can just go a little bit lower. Let's go in and try it. Alright, now, so you don't necessarily have to use Moon Flute to start the stage off, but it is good damage. And so this would demonstrate just how to do the stage a little faster, and it's to use an opening Moon Flute. So I'm going to whistle and tingle before doing Moon Flute, because those spells don't do damage, or they don't do enough damage to matter. I'm going to do a Bristled Song of Torment with Moon Flute up. I'm going to have a couple seconds before waning, so I can get a few GCDs in. Here we go. So, I'm just going to run around, avoiding, well, getting hit by autos. Now, at this point, the boss will start doing some more... Oh, I'm getting slide cast correctly. Some interruptible casts, but if you don't stand in that, you don't have to interrupt it. And since Flying Sardine is a GCD, it takes your GCD, it's not an ability. If you don't have to interrupt him, it is better for your damage. Triple Trident is off cooldown pretty soon. Now this looks like it's going to hit the entire arena, so maybe we interrupt that. That might be good. Okay, he's getting pretty low. So how about doing another buffed Whistle Tingle Trident? And then seeing if we can finish him up. Oh, he's definitely going to die to a buff final sting. Here we go. Yep. And so that's kind of showing you how you can use Moon Flute. Not just to finish the stage, but also earlier in the stage. In this particular case, the boss's rotation allowed us to go into waning, and the only threat from the boss was auto attacks for a long time. It didn't start doing those casts of Earth and Heart until quite a while later. It didn't start doing casts of Obliterate until a while later. And I did only use Moon Flute when I had the opportunity to do a lot more damage inside of the Moon Flute window, which is when Triple Trident was off cooldown, and when I would be finishing the stage with a final sting. So you don't want to just use it on cooldown anytime you can buff your damage, because it's only buffing your damage by 50%, and if you're only spamming your basic GCD with that, then you get 15 seconds of 50% more damage and then 15 seconds of 0 damage. That's not a good trade-off. Alright. So here we go. Let's go into Stage 9, Mocking Slime. So this stage, the way this boss works is it will summon some slimes with elemental vulnerability or weaknesses intermittently. You can kind of mostly ignore them. It is vulnerable to interruption, but yeah, no other status effects that we tend to care about. The interruption is not strictly necessary. It gives itself a golden tongue, which causes it to deal more damage with its casts. If you interrupt it, it's just going to be a comfier stage. But it's not critical. If you don't interrupt the golem in the previous stage, when it casts Obliterate, however, that is going to deal a lot of damage to you. it's survivable. You could bring a healing spell if you drink it. If you're low, it might actually kill you. Alright, so what is the recommendation? Let's remove all the buttons. Well, maybe not all the buttons. I think I want to start keeping Moon Flute on the bar. I might keep Ultra Vibration and Ram's Voice around, because I expect to be using those quite frequently. I also just really like having my Whistle Tingle Trident combo available. I like having my Dot combo available. Final Sting is kind of nice to keep around, but Water Cannon is not the good GCD. We don't want that. So for this stage, it looks like I recommend Sonic Boom, if I can remember where it is. There it is. Sonic Boom. The Dot combo, or if you have it, your Breath of Mana, because it's just going to be stronger. You can apply both dots. There's nothing stopping you. I do recommend bringing Flying Sardine. And then I recommend Self-Destruct as the finisher combo, as well as Off Guard. We'll put that on the bar. Let's see. And I say bring White Wind just in case. I think in practice having White Wind on your bar is just really good. There's other healing spells Blue Mage has, like from the Overworld you may have gotten Rehydration. Notice it does have a long cast bar, but it can help top you off because it is pretty high potency. And this doesn't depend on your mimicry. I'm not using any mimicries so far. But this is generally a button you're going to have on your Blue Mage cast bar all the time. Because your all dungeons, all trials and stuff that you do, you want to have a mimicry active. But in the Carnival, you don't actually need it. Most of the time. So I'm doing as many stages as I can without bothering to worry about it. But you can certainly use it. There's nothing stopping you. It is strictly bonus. So another healing spell you could bring if you get spooked on some of the stages is Palm Cure, but you want to make sure you have healer mimicry at the time, because otherwise the potency is only 100. It's just very weak. But yeah, so it looks like what we're using for this stage is Sonic Boom and a dot, and then we explode. And the reason that we explode is this boss is actually sneaky. What stage is this? 9? Okay. I'm gonna show you right off the bat. This boss is sneaky. Watch this. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. It takes a single hit point of damage from any physical attack. So, I'm going to put my dots on this guy. Whoop. This bad slide pass. Oh, there's Golden Tongue. I'm going to choose to interrupt that. Here's this Wind Slime. He goes down into GCDs. Now, I say that a buff Self-Destruct should kill this boss from about 30% hit points, so we just have to keep going with damage. We can refresh our Sonic format. Now, I don't want to worry about this guy, so I'm just going to freeze him. Okay, whoop! I stepped in the bad. Let's go this way. Get Toad Oil up, because he's getting to be in range. I'm gonna Bristle. Moon Flute. And boom, there it goes. I made sure to put Off Guard on him as well for extra damage. And that's the fight. So, you can bring a heal. Potion works, a heal spell works. Because this is a slower kill of the boss. Because it doesn't have a whole bunch of OGCDs to help soften it up. But that's effectively so get the boss down. Alright, recommend stage 10 next. There is an achievement attached to this stage, which you can look at in the guide if you want. So So this guy's got an interruptible cast. If you go for the achievement, you have to not interrupt his casts. He also has specific hit point threshold that he will reach where he doesn't do the casts anymore, and you actually need him to get the achievement. He will cast King's Will up to 3 times, and after the 3rd time is when you want to kill him to get the achievement. We're not going to do that for a standard clear. But we can't freeze, we can't death, so all the good cheese is not here. And what I recommend is kind of the standard build of good stuff. Got Sonic Boom, got our dots. We're going to bring a Final Sting combo. We're going to bring the Whistle Tingle Trident combo. Since we're using Final Sting, we're going to remove the Self-Destruct combo. We're not using that. And I'm going to bring Flying Sardine for the interrupt, so it's almost the same loadout as the previous stage. We just won't be using Round's Voice for anything. And of course, you can bring a heal if you want. Now, for this guy, we are going to be looking for a Final Sting threshold of around 40%. So, let's see. We're going to pull. And I'm not going to do a Moon Flute here, because I don't exactly remember when he does the cast that I want to interrupt. Whoop, did I get hit? Yeah, that's fine. Like, he's getting kind of low anyway. There it is. And this just buffs his damage, he gets bigger. Going for standard clears, so I'm just going to make sure it gets low. It's fine. Okay, this is supposed to be stingable, so let's see if we can do that. And down he goes. So, if you're ever a little concerned that maybe your sting might not do enough damage, you can apply Off Guard, because Off Guard buffs all of the damage the monster is taking. Right? It's not just magical, which is different from Peculiar Light. Peculiar Light is number 43. It shares a cooldown with Off Guard, so you can't carry both on your bar and use them at the same time. But it only buffs magical damage taken, so if you're wanting to do a Final Sting, Off Guard is the better choice. Peculiar Light's different mainly in that you can have it and Off Guard up at the same time, so you'd have to be in like a setting with multiple players for that. So very often in raid, like a blue tank or a healer or something might be applying Peculiar Light while another blue mage is using Off Guard, so the boss is taking extra damage. But in the Carnival, Off Guard is kind of the way to go, because you're usually applying it, usually for your finisher. Peculiar Light, however, is AoE, so it will hit multiple things in a 6 yalm radius, but I don't tend to take advantage of that in the Carnival very much. Stage 12, Phantom of the Opera. The way this stage works is you have these roses, and they will do a ranged attack at you. In Act 2, you have this big guy, who is immune to freeze and also flat damage. But he can be stunned, and he cannot be interrupted. This is actually important, because this boss does an attack that you do want to interrupt, but you can't use fish for it, so you need to bring a stun to stop him from casting it. Now, what's really weird in the Carnival is Ice Spikes is good. These things do a ranged attack at you, and Ice Spikes will retaliate and kill them. In other content, Ice Spikes doesn't work that way. So we are going to have it on our bar, though. We're going to stick it there. Otherwise, we're bringing kind of a typical loadout. The boss in Act 2, however, is vulnerable to water instead of wind, or instead of nothing. So I guess I'll swap in water cannon for this. Otherwise, typical good stuff. We got our dots, we've got Whistle Tingle Trident. For a stun, there it is, upside down guy. Bomb Toss, easy to obtain. There's some other stuns. I think the stun for this might only apply if you can draw the monster in, and that particular monster might not be vulnerable to draw-ins. Phase doesn't deal any damage, so like, why would you do that when you can do this? And then there's some other spells that come from other places, but this is the easiest one to get. And this is this stage. Okay, so here's what we do. Go to the center, apply ice spikes, pull them with Addle. Now they're dead. Addle is faster than a GCD. So we're looking for a stink threshold of around 30%. Alright. Let's see how this goes. I am going to try using a fluted opener on him. See how that goes. So we're going to do Whistle, going to do Tingle, going to do Moon Flute, we're going to apply Triple Trident, we're going to put a buff, Breath of Magic on him, we're going to do buff, Song of Torment. Oh, this is the cast that we wanted. Interrupt. I wasn't fast enough to get the dot out. Oh well. Okay, Spore Sack is summoning those plants. But I am in waning, so we'll see if this was a bad idea or not. Okay, it's not hurting that bad. So I'm just gonna Ice Spikes, this will take care of them. Oh, I'm gonna put my dot on. There we go. My bleed. I took some damage, but he does a lot of casts, and when monsters are casting, they're generally not auto-immune, so I'm not really worried about my hit points too much. But if you do get worried, Health Potion. Saves you a GCD. Oh gosh, I said 30%, he's already there. Let's see. Missile? Ooh. Off he goes. Not all that bad. Okay, node stage. Node stage. Now, this is a tricky one. This node has a bunch of things it can do. It has a number of attacks that are proximity based. Where the closer you are to it, the more it's going to want to use an attack that hits close. The further you are, the more it's going to want to use an attack that hits far away. It can do a donut, it can do a circle, it can do an expanding Pac-Man. So sort of a 270, but it's in concentric rings, and it moves. And it is interruptible, so we'll keep that in mind. The other thing about this boss is it summons a couple of adds. One of the adds is a Shabti, which is axe-wielding monster that spawns in with a damage up, and that can one-shot you. So there's two ways to deal with it. One way is to just know where he spawns, and then cast level 5 Death as soon as he appears before he can hit you. Another way is you can sleep him, and if you sleep that monster, it will the sleep length will outlast its damage buff, and after the damage buff falls off, it won't one-shot you. It will also, later in the fight, summon a couple of snakes that are similar to snakes from coils. So if you have done the first stage of coils, there are snakes, and when they die, they put vulns on nearby actors, including enemies. And that makes the node a little bit easier to kill. Now, with all that in mind, I'm thinking, okay, let me remove the utility spells and leave on the universal good stuff. Now, I'm going to leave this utility spell, because I know I might need an interrupt here. I want Sonic Boom as my standard GCD here. I think I'm going to bring level 5 Death, because I want to try and kill the Shabti that way. But I think I'm also going to put a sleep spell on my bar. Now, you can use the roll action, or why not I just bring Acorn Bomb? It actually casts a little bit faster than your roll action. And so you can see how that works. Otherwise, the main recommendations are having some kind of AoE to spam on the snakes that are going to spawn. And so, well, you could use Ram's voice, or the guide says Planecracker, so you could use that. Sure. Put Planecracker on there. Otherwise, standard good stuff. Let's see how this goes. I recommend staying near the boss to more easily dodge its AoEs, and I say that it does not auto-attack. So, let's see. Now, do I want to start with a Moon Flute opener? That depends a little bit. I'm not going to, because I want to... I need to put fish back on the bar. I want to make sure that I interrupt the cast when it goes out. So let's just do a regular non-fluted opener to see more of the fight. See, look, there's no auto attacks happening. So this is actually a learnable spell. If you do get hit by it, you're going to need to, or you'll need to, but you probably want to, assume yourself. Oh, there's a shot to you. Oh. Ah, there we go. Look at that. So the Pac-Man was spooky, and then the Shabti got to me before. So that was just unfortunate because the my target changed from the Shabti back to the node when I wanted to sleep in. Otherwise, that would have been fine. So we're gonna go in again. But we saw that he spawns on the west. Notice that Flying Sardine is a GCD, so it did consume the bristle. I'm gonna do this time. So this time, let's see. Whoop! Man. So I got. Whoa! How did he hit me there? It's fine. It's fine. That was a very safe way of doing that guy. Good chance for a heal. Wait for them to get close before reapplying the magic. Stop that. Now it's got 2 lungs on it, just like I do. And then we're going to do a fluted final stab. That's the stage. This was a weekly target, so got some bonus allied seals and such. Alright. Next up, Sunset Boulevard. So these guys, these are one-shot monsters. They move very slowly, but they will one-shot you if they hit you. They are sleepable. And that's actually the safety strat for these guys, is that you can put a really strong dot on them, and you can sleep them. You cannot freeze them, and you cannot just death them, so that's going to be what we do, is we're going to just sleep them and put a dot on. But we're going to do it in the other order. We're going to put the dot on first and then sleep. So this guy, we can't freeze, we can't kill outright. There's nothing to interrupt, so we don't have to worry about fish, but he will eventually summon one of these guys. We won't necessarily have to kill it, but we do probably want to think about how to deal with it. So, you know, if you're spooked by it, you can sleep it. Alright, now a standard loadout for this, standard good stuff. This stuff's still good. I just don't need Planecracker this time. Okay, now Breath of Magic is just stupid strong, so I can take it to about right here on the dot of the stage. Oh, do that again. Lucky auto. That got both of them. Now I'll put them this thing. Take it down. Super safe. Very lazy. This is where you can just sip your coffee. So this boss, the sting threshold is apparently very low. He's pretty squishy, but it does require like a crit direct or direct hit. So in order to kill the boss timely, we're going to soften him up with a strong triple trident inside of our Moon Flute. So we're going to start with a whistle, tingle, off guard, up flute. That is a cone in front. And this should get him. Going by pretty fast, huh? Alright, Sword of Music, stage 17. What do we have here? Hands. So, the way these guys work, you can petrify, freeze, flat damage death, but you can also do that to this guy. Now, these guys, one of them puts up Reflect Magic, or one of them has innately Reflect Magic, one has innately Reflect Physical. And there's a couple of ways of handling it. If you really don't like fighting these, you can cheese them with the freeze. And the other guy, you know, you might have to fight normally. I prefer just to kill these and ram vibe this guy. So the recommendation I have here is to sleep the magic reflecting hand and DPS down the other using a lightning spell, and then you just beat up the other hand. That seems pretty safe. So I want a physical spell and a lightning spell. So pick the lightning spell first. I want single target lightning because I don't want to accidentally hit the other one. And I want a single target physical. So Abyssal Transfixion seems nice. That's a good button. And, yeah, that's really all we're bringing, besides the freeze combo. I still have sleep on my bar, I think. Double check sleep still there. You can use the roll action, I just don't have it on the bar at the moment. And, yeah. So this reflects physical, this reflects magical. So they do hit for a fair amount. See, the heavy is nice. Ah. So we can use a buffed triple trident on this thing. And then you can put Transfixion, so you can get paralysis ticks from it. So that'll just keep it at bay. All right, here we go. Easy dead.